Sometimes, the world can feel unbearably heavy, as if every step forward is met with an invisible force pushing you back. For Jacob, this weight wasn't just a passing feeling, it was the reality he woke up to every single day, a constant ache that never seemed to fade. In the small town of Harmony Creek, where everyone seemed to know each other's business, Jacob's life was anything but harmonious. Each morning, he woke to a cold, empty room, haunted by the memory of his lost factory job, and the silence that filled his days, echoing through the walls. He avoided old friends, burdened by their pity, his own shame, and the fear that he'd never find his place again. The town's closed doors and help-wanted signs only deepened his sense of failure, as if every empty storefront was a reminder of dreams slipping away. His daughter Sarah was his only light, her quiet strength both inspiring and heartbreaking, a small beacon in the darkness that surrounded him. He longed to provide for her, to give her the world, but every night he tucked her in with a heart full of helplessness and worry for their future. Jacob felt trapped, watching the person he loved most suffer alongside him, unable to shield her from the hardships they faced. But this is a story about how even the smallest act of kindness, a smile, a warm gesture, a helping hand, can change everything. It's about the power we all hold, often without realizing it, to lift each other up and remind one another that we're not alone. If you've ever felt lost, or believe in second chances, or simply hope for a brighter tomorrow, listen closely. Because even in the darkest times, a little light, a glimmer of hope, can show us the way forward, no matter how faint it seems. Jacob's journey was just beginning, and though he couldn't see it yet, change was already on the horizon. He had no idea his world was about to change in ways he never imagined. All it would take was one simple, unexpected act of kindness, a moment that would remind him, and all of us, that hope can be found in the most unlikely places. On a bitter Tuesday, the city felt even colder than usual. The wind cut through Jacob's thin coat, and the gray sky pressed down, heavy with the promise of more hardship. Each breath he took seemed to freeze before it left his lips, and the world around him felt distant, muffled by the cold. Jacob's last hope was the local food bank, a place he'd passed many times but never entered until now. Hunger had finally outweighed his hesitation. The walk there felt endless, every step a battle with his pride. He wondered if anyone would recognize him, or if he'd simply blend into the background, another face in need. The food bank, tucked in a church basement, was warm and smelled of soup. The gentle hum of conversation, and the clatter of dishes, offered a strange comfort, a reminder of normalcy. Martha, a gentle woman with silver hair, greeted him, not with pity, but with understanding. Her eyes held a quiet strength, as if she'd seen many winners and many struggles. She handed him a box and a smile, treating him like a neighbor, not a charity case. Her kindness was simple, but it felt profound. Jacob kept his eyes down, but Martha's kindness pierced his despair. For a moment the weight he carried felt lighter. She asked if he could wait for a delivery of fresh vegetables, as if asking a favor. It was a small thing, but it made him feel needed, not just helped. For the first time in ages, Jacob looked someone in the eye and saw only connection. There was no judgment, only shared humanity. He watched Martha interact with others, offering dignity and warmth. Each person was greeted as an individual, not a number. In that small basement, Jacob felt a fragile flicker of being seen, not as a problem, but as a person. The feeling was unfamiliar, but welcome. It wasn't hope yet, but it was something close. A gentle warmth began to thaw the cold inside him. The shame didn't vanish, but it loosened its grip. He could breathe a little easier, if only for a moment. Sometimes, the smallest gestures are the most powerful. A kind word, a gentle touch, a moment of patience. These things matter. In that moment, Jacob realized he wasn't invisible. He was acknowledged, and that acknowledgement was a lifeline. He was part of something, even if just for a moment. The sense of belonging, however brief, was enough to spark a quiet determination, and that was enough to keep going, to take another step forward into the uncertain day. As Jacob waited, the quiet hum of the church basement seemed to echo his own uncertainty. He glanced around, noticing the mix of nervous faces and hopeful eyes, each person carrying their own story. Suddenly, a young volunteer named Chris stumbled in, arms overloaded and potatoes tumbled everywhere, rolling across the floor in every direction. For a split second, the room froze in surprise, but Martha and several others quickly bent to help, their movements breaking the tension. Jacob, almost without thinking, joined in, kneeling beside strangers, gathering potatoes, letting himself focus on the simple, shared task at hand. Soon, everyone was helping, no words needed. The awkwardness faded, replaced by a sense of purpose and quiet camaraderie. For a few minutes they weren't charity cases or strangers, they were just people, working together, united by a small accident and a bigger need. Jacob felt a quiet peace as he placed the last potato in the crate, a gentle smile tugging at his lips. Martha handed him fresh carrots, her smile full of gratitude and understanding, as if to say thank you for more than just the help. No one mentioned the potatoes, but the meaning was clear in the glances they shared, a silent acknowledgement of kindness. Jacob left with food, but also with a lighter heart, carrying more than just groceries in his arms. He'd given something back, however small, a gesture that mattered, even if only for a moment. That act created a ripple, one that started with him, but spread quietly through the room, inspiring others. Sometimes, helping others is the first step to helping yourself. In that moment, Jacob realized he was capable of making a difference, no matter how small. Jacob walked home, the box less heavy, the shame less sharp, his steps a little lighter than before. He was no longer just a taker. He had become a giver, even in a small way. He was part of a community, even if only for a moment, and that moment mattered more than he could have imagined. The first ripple had begun, and Jacob knew it would carry on, touching lives in ways he might never see. The next morning, Jacob thought about the food bank and the simple soup he made for Sarah with those fresh carrots. Her joy reminded him what he was fighting for. Instead of hiding at home, Jacob remembered Chris, the young mechanic. He walked to Chris's garage, nerves jangling, and offered to help. No pay needed, just a chance to be useful. Chris, surprised but welcoming, agreed. It wasn't a job, but it was acceptance, a seed of trust planted in Jacob's barren life. For the second time in days, someone saw him as a person with something to give. Relief surged through Jacob. He could start now. Sometimes, all it takes is one person to believe in you. That belief can change everything. Jacob was ready to try. He wasn't asking for charity. He was asking for purpose. And he found it. Jacob spent his afternoons at the garage, sweeping, sorting, and slowly regaining confidence. Chris treated him like a friend, never asking about his past. Jacob began sharing stories of his factory days, and Chris listened with respect. Their friendship grew, built on hard work and trust. One day Jacob's advice helped Chris fix a stubborn engine. From then on, Chris relied on Jacob's skills for tougher jobs. Jacob's hands remembered their old talents. He was no longer just cleaning, he was contributing. The small pay helped at home, but the real reward was self-worth. Jacob walked taller, the ghost of shame fading. Chris told him he'd learned more from Jacob than in a year of trade school. That validation meant everything. Jacob saw a capable man in the mirror again. Kindness had pulled him from the edge. Now, he was learning to stand on his own. Sometimes the unseen hand is just a friend who believes in you. Word spread quickly in Harmony Creek. People noticed Jacob's transformation and the cleaner, busier garage. The story of spilled potatoes and new beginnings inspired others. At the food bank, more people volunteered. Baking bread. At the food bank, more people volunteered. Fixing shelves. At the food bank, more people volunteered, offering what they could. Martha's dignity sparked a movement of giving. On Main Street, the diner owner George offered free weekly meals to those in need. The town rallied, donating ingredients and support. George's Tuesday meal became a tradition. The community, once fractured by the factory's closure, began to heal. Small acts of kindness stitched the town together. It wasn't a grand plan, just people helping people. Chris gave Jacob a chance. Martha offered dignity. George shared a meal. Harmony Creek was finally living up to its name. Months passed, and the garage thrived. Jacob became a paid employee, providing for Sarah and regaining his confidence. One day, a young woman arrived, stranded with her children and little money. Jacob saw his old self in her eyes. He offered his lunch and reassurance, not pity. Chris and Jacob fixed her car, telling her to pay when she could, or just pay it forward. The woman left in tears of gratitude. Jacob realized he was now the giver, not just the receiver. The kindness he'd received was flowing through him to someone else. The circle was complete. Sometimes, the greatest gift is the chance to help another. Jacob's journey had come full circle. He was part of the chain of kindness, and that chain was unbreakable. The ripple had become a wave. As the sun set, Jacob finished the repair and watched the grateful family drive away. He felt a deep peace. He hadn't just fixed a car, he'd helped a family. This story is about one man, but also about the heart of a community. A single act of compassion can start a ripple that changes lives. If this story touched you, share it and let hope spread. We all have the power to be a Martha, a Chris, or a George. That evening, Jacob walked home, heart full. He saw George's diner bustling, neighbors talking, the town alive. At home, Sarah showed him a drawing of Harmony Creek, full of smiling people under a bright sun. For the first time, Jacob felt the name was true. The town had changed, and so had he. Kindness had transformed them all. The future looked bright. The darkness had lifted. Harmony Creek was home again. Harmony Creek found a new rhythm, one of connection and care. The garage became a hub, offering apprenticeships to struggling youth. Jacob, once in need, became a mentor and pillar of the community. He never forgot his own struggles, and his compassion grew. The story of Jacob became a quiet legend, a testament to the power of kindness. Tuesday meals at George's Diner continued, funded by a generous community. The food bank became a place of giving and connection. The town healed itself, one small act at a time. Jacob's journey reminds us, everyone fights battles we can't see. A gentle word or small favor can be a lifeline. We all have this power. It doesn't require grand gestures, just compassion and belief in new beginnings. Jacob's story is for all of us. Let's carry this lesson, be the light, and lift each other up. The enduring light of kindness is the most powerful force we have. Let it shine through you today and every day.